Yes, good evening, Nigeria. Good evening, Europe. Good evening, Africa. Good evening, Asia. Good evening, Zimbabwe. Good evening, Gambia. Good evening, Poland. Good evening, New York. Good evening, United Kingdom. Good evening, Poland. Good evening, Asia. Good evening, Australia. Good evening, Austria. Good evening, Ghana. Good evening, Trinidad and Tobago. Good evening, Jamaica. Good evening, uh, Guyana. Good evening, South Africa. Good evening to all the peoples of the world. Good evening to you wherever you are. Good evening to you. Good evening, good morning, good afternoon, according to your GMT. My name is Ibironke Olasunbo Ohunoluwa, popularly called Yeye Omigbemileke, across the globe of the world. I am your sister, your friend, your mentor, your Oloku priestess, seated at the city of Ota, the city of Iyami. I give a great salute to the Olodumare, he that was, is, and will forever be. I give thanks to the ancient of days, Arugbo Ojo, Baba Atepa. I salute him who has created everything, new and old, black, white, and everything. Yes, I salute him. I salute Olókun Ajífìlùkì, Jìwìnì Ìlẹ̀kẹ̀. I salute Ajé Ògúngúnnísọ̀ Onísọ̀ Ògbòjì. I salute Ifá Olókun Asọ̀rọ̀dayọ̀, ẹlẹ́rìí ìpè, àtórí ẹni tí ò sunwọ̀n ṣe. I salute Èṣù láàlú òkìrì òkò onílé oríta, ẹlẹ́kún sẹkún láàróyè ṣẹ̀jẹ̀, òbẹ́lẹ́kún ọ̀bẹ̀lẹ́kún sẹ́kún kẹ́rù òbẹ́lẹ́kún. I salute him, ọkùnrin gbọ̀ngbọ̀n ojúde oríta. Ìbà Ọbàtálá Ọbàtárìṣà, ọba takuntakun lóde ìrànjẹ. Yes, good evening to you wherever you are. Good evening, good morning, good afternoon, according to your GMT. It is my pleasure to be with you at this time. It is my pleasure to come online again and ginger your swagger. Yes. Tonight or this evening, what am I up to? Yes, this evening I want to talk to you on protecting your territory. Yes, in every nation of the world, there is this protection of territory, protection of the waterways, protection of the airspace, protection of the land, and what have you. Yes, the military do not play with they do not play with protection of their territory, and that has led me to a very important topic tonight. And what is that topic? Protect your territory. It is your responsibility to protect your spiritual territory, to make sure that all is well and intact. Many years ago, I was a teacher running a school of mine, and in that particular school, we have a nurse, school nurse. Yes, the school nurse happens to be somebody that lives within the environment. And one day, one afternoon, she came to me with her husband, and the point of problem was that he was working in a bakery, and there was a particular uh, person who had a co-worker who had an issue with him in that place, and open confrontation. The guy told him, according to them, that he happens to be a celestial person, and that he's going to arrange for 7 elders to spiritually take up his matter against him. So when they heard that, both the husband and the wife became jittery. Normally they became jittery, they became afraid, and they were like, what are they going to do? So the wife brought the man to me, because then I was partly a proprietress and partly a spiritualist. So when they came, I made spiritual investigation, and right there I discovered that it was true. Yes, the man actually meant to treat the fuck up of the husband, and wrongfully. Hmm. So I told them to come back the following day. They came. I ran the guy through some spiritual exercise. I ran into some spiritual programs like that, and let me say, yeah, spiritual fortification anyway. And right there, during the fortification, he was able to gain some level of confidence, and he left. After like a month, he came. He came to my place. It was on a Saturday morning. I can still remember clearly. He came and he sat down. He told me what happened at work, that this particular person had um, become very sick, and in the process of that sickness could not walk. He's been um, weak, so he was actually holding the wall. So the sickness, the situation of the man made this guy to be afraid. So he came to me. He came to me with some loaves of bread. He gave me. I accepted. I appreciated it before he started the story. After the story, he now asked me, and I remember I was eating. I was on my breakfast that morning. So he asked me a question. He said, "Hey, please, will the man die?" And I became very angry with him. Very angry with him, because it was a completely uh, different thing entirely. I wasn't expecting him to ask that question. But I was so angry that I said to him, "Ṣé ìyá wèrè?" In my language, it's translated, "Hope you are not crazy." So the man was like, sorry, oh, and he left that day. The following day, the wife came, and she was just laughing. I was like, my husband said he's afraid of you, blah blah blah. Then I said, what you are saying, you two should you should look at it again and look at what your husband said. And imagine that kind of situation where the man would come to ask me if somebody would die. What kind of a question? Do I look like a killer or something? All I did was just to uh all I did was just to help the man to stand well, so that anything, any arrow, enchantment, spell, arrangement made against him would return back to the sender. We didn't do anything, we didn't even mention anybody's name. All we did was just to, fortify him spiritually, that whatever is done against him will return back to the sender. And that was it. The man actually made good his promise, but unfortunately for him, this guy had become more fortified, such that everything done against him went back to the sender. Now, if that man had not been spiritually fortified, what will have happened? It could have been the beginning of an end for him. Possibly he would have become sick or paralyzed, or something would have gone wrong in his life. It could have even led to his death, untimely death. Now, I have told you this story in order to make you to understand that there is need for you as a person, for every mariner out there, irrespective of the power that we carry. There is need for you to fortify yourself. Fortify yourself. Don't just sit and say nothing spoil. They will spoil many things. You understand? Fortify yourself. Whatever you know, fortify yourself. One thing I always say is that make sure you have arrow killer at home. We call it in my language aporo offer. I do have it. I have it in different fashion. We have the powder, we have the liquid, such that once you sense anything, you send it back immediately. Don't take chances with your life. Protect your territory. We will protect our territory. We will not hunt anybody. We will not fire evil arrows to anybody. We will not attack anybody spiritually. We will not sit down to destroy anybody. But basically, we will protect our territory. That is it. In the process of protecting your territory, in the traditional African setting, the Yoruba environment where I come from, there are different ways they do it. There are those that are incision across our head. Yes, you just manage it and put it there. There are those that you put in the hand. There are other ones that, the kind of fortification that when you hold a bottle of a drink that is poisoned, as you hold the bottle, it will break into pieces in your hand. Yes, it is part of fortification, spiritual fortification. So there is need for us to fortify ourselves, fortify our spouses, fortify our children, so that they will be able to scale through the battles of life successfully. My name remains Ibironke Olasunbo Ohunoluwa, popularly called Yeye Omigbemileke. I am your mentor, your Orisha mentor, your local priestess, yes, and your spiritual consultant. You can reach me on +234 8135122750 for any form of spiritual attention that you may need. It is my pleasure to be with you at this time. Do have a lovely evening. Bye.